So the second step when we rethink fractions is there's 4 general things we can do with them. And the GED test is going to throw this at us inside a question. It probably wouldn't be very straightforward and just saying straight out, hey, what's 3/5 plus 1/4? It probably wouldn't be that, but it's a skill we got to know. Now, the old way we learned fractions and adding this stuff was super complex. We would have to do what's least common denominator. We'd have to have these denominators match up in a way where, 5 and 4, the bottom numbers got to match. We'd have to figure out that 20 works for both of them. So we'd have to multiply that by 4 and multiply that by 4, and then multiply this by 5 and multiply this by down here by 5. And then we'd come up with we'd have to mess around with possibly 2 fractions to mess around with them to get to an answer that we have to mess around with anyway. We're not going to do that. We don't have time. Plus, that's way too much work. We're going to do what's called the bow tie method. The bow tie method goes like this. Multiply those 2 numbers. That's 20. Then we're going to multiply these 2 numbers. That's 12. Then we're going to elevate the sign to remember what we're doing. That's plus. And then we multiply these 2 numbers. Whatever those 2 numbers equal becomes our top number. And those steps never change. It is across the bottom, then back up here to get this one. So, oops, let me get my vanishing pen. Thank you, Zoom. We go across the bottom, then we go up here, then we elevate the sign, and then we go over here, and whatever that equals goes on top. Now, we may have to mess with this fraction. We may have to, it's an improper fraction if the top number's 2 is more than the bottom number, or it can be reduced. True, but this number is technically correct. So we got to something we can use fairly quickly. So I'm gonna go over to, actually I'm gonna hit pause on the recording, and then we're gonna go over and do some practice on the math cam thing.